The solar storm hit without warning. Chris had been conducting his routine atmospheric analysis on the observation deck when the first wave struck. The electromagnetic pulse turned the colony's sky from rust red to an angry violet, and the emergency klaxons began their bone-shaking wail. Through the reinforced viewport, he watched as the magnetic field generators on the perimeter began to fail, one by one, their protective domes collapsing like soap bubbles. All personnel seek immediate shelter. Radiation levels critical. Repeat. The AI's voice cut off mid-sentence as another pulse rolled across the Martian landscape. Chris grabbed his data pad and ran, but he knew the mathematics better than anyone. The nearest designated shelter was 400 meters away. He had perhaps 90 seconds before the deadly radiation would cook him from the inside out. 60 seconds. His breath came in ragged gasps as he sprinted across the red dust. The colony's main dome loomed ahead, but it might as well have been on Earth for all the good it would do him now. 30 seconds. His skin began to tingle, the first sign of exposure. The neural implant in his temple flashed warning symbols across his vision, painting his world in urgent crimson alerts. Then he saw her. A figure emerged from what looked like solid rock face, a woman in a battered environmental suit, her face hidden behind a scarred helmet. She moved with impossible speed, covering the distance between them in heartbeats. "Run, you fool!" Her voice crackled over the emergency frequency. 15 seconds. She didn't wait for his response. Her gloved hand clamped around his wrist with crushing force, and she dragged him toward the cliff face he could have sworn was solid moments before. Up close, he could see it now, a camouflaged entrance, its edges shimmering with advanced holographic technology far beyond anything the colony possessed. 5 seconds. They tumbled through the opening just as the third wave hit. The entrance sealed behind them with a pneumatic hiss, and Chris found himself sprawled on a smooth metal floor that hummed with power. The air tasted recycled but clean, and the temperature was precisely regulated, a stark contrast to the barely habitable conditions in the main colony. "What?" he began, but she cut him off. "Quiet, scanning for contamination." A blue light washed over him, and his implant registered decontamination protocols more sophisticated than anything in the colony's medical bay. When it finished, the woman removed her helmet, and Chris found himself staring at someone who shouldn't exist. She was young, perhaps 30, with dark eyes that held a depth of exhaustion that spoke of decades, not years. Her black hair was cut short and practical, but it was her face that made him stare. She was human, unmistakably so, but her features bore the subtle genetic markers of someone born off Earth. Not Mars-born, though, something else entirely. "Salina," she said, offering no handshake. "And before you ask your 1,000 questions, yes, this is a private shelter. No, the colony doesn't know it exists. And yes, you're alive because of me. That last part is important." Chris pulled himself to his feet, his scientist's mind already cataloging impossibilities. The shelter extended deep into the cliff face, its corridors lit by bioluminescent panels that cast everything in a soft, blue-white glow. Through an open doorway, he glimpsed equipment that belonged in theoretical papers, not on a frontier colony barely clinging to survival. "The colony has been here for 12 years, he said slowly. "I've mapped every square kilometer within 20 clicks. This facility was here first," Salina finished. She moved down the corridor and Chris followed, drawn by curiosity that overwhelmed his caution. 27 years ago, to be precise, before your colony, before the terraforming initiatives, before Mars became humanity's bright new hope. She led him into a command center that made the colony's control room look like a child's toy. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing real-time data streams from across Mars, and his breath caught from orbit. High orbit, where nothing should be. "You're with the Accord," he whispered. Salina's laugh was bitter. Was, past tense. The Accord stopped existing for me the moment they decided some things were worth sacrificing entire colonies for. She gestured to the displays and they shifted, showing the solar storm's progression. But overlaid on the data were other readings, artificial in origin. That wasn't a natural solar storm, Chris said, his mind racing ahead of his words. Someone triggered it. The magnetic resonance patterns are wrong. He stopped, staring at her. You knew it was coming. 3 days ago, Salina confirmed. She pulled up another display, this one showing colony personnel files. His own face stared back at him. You're the colony's chief atmospheric scientist. Published 6 papers on magnetic field manipulation. Worked on the Genesis project before taking this posting. You're smart enough to understand what I'm about to tell you. She manipulated the holographic interface, and a new image appeared. A massive structure in orbit around Mars, its design purpose-built for planetary engineering. Or destruction. The Accord built that 5 years ago, Salina said. It's called the Prometheus Array. Officially, it doesn't exist. Its purpose is to accelerate terraforming by manipulating Mars's magnetic field. Unofficially, it's a weapon. Today's storm was a test. A test that could have killed everyone in the colony, Chris said, his voice cold. A test that was supposed to kill everyone in the colony, Salina corrected. You're sitting on something, Dr. Chris. Underneath this colony, beneath tons of Martian rock, there's a deposit of element 126, synthesized, stable, and worth more than every colony in the solar system combined. The Accord wants it. The colony is in the way. Chris felt his legs weaken and he leaned against a console. We've found nothing. Our surveys were deliberately incomplete. Your colony administrator knows. 3 others on the board know. Everyone else is expendable data points in a cost-benefit analysis. And you, Chris asked, why tell me, why save me? Salina's expression hardened. Because you're going to help me stop them. That's the price of your survival, Doctor. I didn't drag you in here out of kindness. I did it because you're useful. She pulled up another display, schematics for the colony's power grid, communication systems, and structural integrity protocols. All of it showed vulnerabilities he'd never noticed before, insertion points for sabotage hidden in plain sight. The next storm comes in 48 hours, Salina said. Bigger, stronger, designed to breach the colony's primary dome and irradiate everyone inside. The Accord will blame it on equipment failure, offer condolences, and move in their own people to investigate and claim the element deposit. We have to warn them, Chris said, reaching for his communicator. Salina's hand shot out, gripping his wrist with that same crushing strength. Warn them with what? The colony administrator is complicit. Half the security force is on the Accord's payroll. You start talking and you'll disappear. They'll say you died in today's storm and no one will question it. Then what? Chris demanded. We just let them die. No, Salina said, releasing him. We give them a chance to survive. But it requires you to trust me, and it requires me to trust you with knowledge that will make you a target for the rest of your life. She walked to a sealed door at the far end of the command center and placed her palm against a biometric scanner. The door hissed open, revealing a chamber that made Chris's breath catch in his throat. Inside, suspended in a quantum containment field, floated a device no larger than a basketball. But the readings coming from it defied everything he thought he knew about physics. It was generating a stable magnetic field powerful enough to shield the entire colony. No, the entire planet, from any artificial solar storm the Accord could throw at them. I've been building this for 3 years, Salina said quietly. It's based on technology the Accord suppressed because it would make their weapons obsolete. Activate it and we save your colony. But the Accord will know someone interfered. They'll come looking. And when they find us, and they will find us, neither of us will live long enough to see a trial. Chris stared at the device, his mind racing through calculations and consequences. Outside, the storm still raged, and in 2 days another would come. He thought of the colony, the families, the children, the scientists who'd given up everything to build something new on this hostile world. "What do you need me to do?" he asked. Salina smiled, but there was no joy in it. "I need you to help me install this in the colony's central power core, and then I need you to help me prove what the Accord is doing. We'll need evidence they can't suppress, broadcast it system-wide before they can silence us." "They'll kill us," Caris said. It wasn't a question. "Probably," Salina agreed. "But 4,000 people will live, and maybe, just maybe, humanity will finally see what its leaders have become." Caris looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the weight she'd been carrying alone. 3 years in this shelter, watching, waiting, preparing to make a stand that would almost certainly end in her death. She'd saved his life, but not for altruism. She'd saved it because she needed help carrying the burden of choice. "I'll do it," he said, "not because I don't have a choice, but because it's the right thing to do." Salina nodded slowly, and for the first time since he'd met her, something like respect flickered in her eyes. "Then we start now. The device needs calibration for the colony's specific magnetic profile. You know the colony's systems better than anyone. I know the device. Together, we might actually pull this off." "And if we don't?" Caris asked. "Then we die knowing we tried. That's more than most people get." As they began to work, the storm outside intensified, painting the Martian sky in shades of violence. But inside the shelter, two people who'd been strangers hours before worked with the desperate focus of those who held thousands of lives in their hands. The price of survival had been set. Now came the payment. And neither of them was certain they'd live to see the change. To be continued.